Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast, where we explore consciousness, creation, existence, and evolution through direct conversations with universal beings. Why? Well, because we want the truth the first time. We have no patience. And I say we because we are recording in front of a live audience. And ultimately, this is about getting the truth and the history of why humans exist and how we work, and also how the universe exists and how the universe works. Why? Because, well, we're curious and we want to understand, because we know instinctually that this is not the experience that we were meant to have. We know that pain and suffering it's not right, but we couldn't understand why. And ultimately, that's how this community came together, is with a deep, deep inner curiosity of what went wrong, how did it happen, and how do we get out of it? So here we are. And 5 years later, well, the community's been going strong, and I've been doing this work for over 20 years. But 5 years ago, we started the private community where we could be able to say, I needed to create a space where anyone could say anything without being censored. We could ask our big questions and the universe could give us the answers. And then the more I learned, in December of 2024, the creator came and he asked me, will you partner with us as in all the universal beings that I've been working with for 20 years, will you work with us to share the story of creation? Because it's time humanity knows the truth. They're ready. And so in January 2025, we started the journey, and we started unraveling the mystery that is our own existence. And it's been interesting. It's been quite fascinating, actually. And now, February, actually today we're recording, it's February 19th, 2026. And we've now come to the place where we're actually meeting the beings who created the control and manipulation of humanity. It's not reptilians. It's not draconians. It's not the lizard reptilians, right? It's not what we've been told. It's very, very different. And the reality is all the other ones, they showed up to chat. These guys aren't here of their own free will to have this conversation. The creator is revealing who they are, and they don't really care. So I invite you to come and explore part 113 of the story of creation with me. I'm Michelle Vickers, and my live audience, they're all here. I can see them as I'm recording this. Why is that important? It's vital to the success of what I do, because I know them. I trust them. I feel them. They're holding space for me as I bring this information through. And I can tell by the looks on their faces when they understand something or when they don't. And that lets me know we got to get more information. We got to go deeper. So I thank them as well for this opportunity to just enjoy the experience of exploring together, because that's really what this is all about. So the creator is here again, and he's sharing his perspective on what happened, but he's also using the universal perspective. Okay, so universal perspective is truth. Okay, it's exactly what happened, how it happened, when it happened, who it happened with, to, and for, all of those pieces. Okay, that's universal perspective. And when we're in energy form, right? When we're not in our human bodies, because we're all souls and we originate in this universe as energy, okay? And when we're in our energetic form in between lives, yes, we come back and we have many, many, many lives, but we're exploring, not just when we come and be human, we're exploring as souls in the universe and as energy. And when we're exploring outside of our human selves, we're not impacted or limited by emotions. We have none. Why? Because emotions are human created beliefs that determine outcomes. That's really what emotions were. It's really interesting. So there's two sides to this, okay? So there's the current societal perspective of what emotions are, okay? And those are reactions to events and experiences that you've had and are having, okay? Now, emotions were created universally as signals. Signals to give you, it's like, oh, it's like a spark almost that goes off in a signal, but it's to signal you to feel deeper because something here is off. Okay. And as humans, we've been trained, the moment something feels off, do not feel anything because it's dangerous. Right? That's what we've been taught, is to bring our energy into ourselves when actually you were created to send it out, right? Send your spidey senses out so you know what's actually going on. Do not go into the fear and hide. Expand yourself so you can learn and understand and discover what's really going on, which ultimately is your capacity and ability to access truth. That's how we access truth. Every single human on the planet is through feelings. The problem and the greatest challenge that's going on right now, and you can see it with everything unfolding as more truth and more truth and more truth is revealed, is humans use emotions to determine their feelings. Emotions is not truth. You can only access truth through energy, and that's feelings. Okay. So I'm not talking, when I say feelings, when you're sad and you're happy, those are not feelings, those are emotions. Feelings is, okay, so I'm having this experience where I feel like someone's really angry at me. I can feel their anger, right? So a mature and conscious human takes a minute to breathe and they feel into the energy. They feel into the energy that that person is projecting towards them. Why? Because they want to understand where the energy is coming from. Because on the human side, the emotion side, okay, we've been taught and trained to react from an emotional perspective. You're angry at me. You're saying mean words. You've done this, and you've done that. And this is what you've done to me. Okay. Those are all emotional reactions. When you come back and you allow yourself to feel the energy, you will understand where their anger is coming from. Not because your brain goes, oh yeah, this happened to them a couple weeks ago and blah. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Again, those are emotions, and so emotions are based on the stuff you know in your head. Really important. Emotions are based on the stuff, and I use that word very strategically. The stuff you've put in your head, you've planted it there, okay? Feelings are based on the energy. And energy tells a story in every moment. It is the truth. It holds the truth, and it gives you the opportunity to access it in any given moment. Why? Because every single human in existence was created with direct access to truth. Why? And the Creator says, and it's very simple, because his intention was for evolution to expand and to evolve. His intention was for every creation in his existence to evolve. The only way that you can evolve is to have accurate information about everything that is in your space, that's happening to you, that's happening around you, that you're wanting to understand. You need absolutely accurate information. That's through feeling energy. feelings, your ability to feel. You know, when you walk in a room and someone's angry and they say, you ask them what's wrong and they're like, nothing. But you have the capacity to feel where they are. That's you, a human being who was created with the ability to feel the energy in every experience. It's not overwhelming. It's only overwhelming when you decide that it's bad to feel. And 9 out of 10 times, it's because you've been taught to fear what you're feeling. It makes you uncomfortable. So the feeling is not the problem. It's how you process the information that you're getting when you're feeling. That's the problem. Your capacity to process information is off. You know what that means? You're uncomfortable with truth. I'm not here to point out your faults. I'm here to help you understand and recognize that your capacity to recognize, to understand, and to allow truth into your space, it's not just significant. It's the foundation of your existence. It's how you were created. It's why every conversation where there isn't truth is either annoying or frustrating to you. And yet, when you actually are confronted with an opportunity to access truth, you run. And you can run in a whole bunch of different ways. This is overwhelming. I can't deal with this. This is too much. I have to deal with this first. I have to protect myself. Every single one of those are running away. Every single one. And here's the thing. You know why you run? Because you've been taught to believe you're weak. You've been taught to believe you can't handle truth. And more importantly, you believe it. You believe that feeling what other people are feeling, what other people are going through, makes you weak, makes you less than who you are. But the truth is, it's a superpower. It's actually exactly what they used to ensure humanity became manipulated. This is the basis of where they started. The basis. Because in order to ultimately assault self-worth in a human being, you tell them what they're feeling is wrong. How many conversations have you had? How many arguments, how many disagreements when you're talking to someone and you're telling them, this is how I feel, and they're like, you're wrong. The truth is, and you know it's the truth, okay? But they're telling you it's wrong. This whole conversation that's been going on for a few years now about narcissism, it's just people who are playing with truth and they're lying. That's it. That's all it is, guys. It's not a big deal. But we make it a big deal in our society. Why? Why do you think there's labels for it and people talk about it and we're going to have to deal with it? You got it. Because now it's a thing. And once it becomes a thing, people put their energy into it. And you know what happens when people put their energy into something? It sticks around. It's got power. It's got power over you. So if you're walking around thinking, man, I was married to a narcissist, or, that person's a narcissist, all you're doing is feeding the control and manipulation. You're playing right into their hands. You're part of the reason humanity can't move forward. And here's the truth, okay? Every human has parts of these things in us. There's all kinds of places we don't want to see truth. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I see truth all the time and I don't ever lie to myself. No, that would be ridiculous to say that because it would be a lie. The truth is, I'm only going to see the truths that I'm comfortable seeing. My job every single day is to get more comfortable seeing everything in the world, even when it makes me uncomfortable. My job is to stand up, right? If you've been here and you've watched the story of creation, you can see it on my face. How many times they were like, Michelle, you're going to share this. and different beings show up and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do it anyways. Why? Because I owe myself the truth, because that's my goal. But also, I can't pretend, I can't say I'm sharing truth and then turn around and not show up when it's uncomfortable for me. That's not fair to you. It's why the creator chose me for this particular partnership. Not because I'm better or, different than anybody else or more unique, but because I chose and to be committed to truth. And I've proven that behavior over and over again over the last 20 years. It doesn't matter who's coming at me with their anger or resentment because of the truth that I share. What matters is the truth that I share. And so your job as a human being is to get comfortable feeling energy again. And that's the key, again, because it's your roots, it's your origin. It's where you come from. It's what existence is based on. It's what the entire human race is based on, is energy. And the only way you can access energy is through feeling. You cannot access energy through your mind. And that's why they were able to, the way they're saying it is, that's what enabled them to create the education system, to create every kind of system there is. Because if they trained you to use your mind to think first, but also then to train how that thinking went, because they understood that the brain can be trained. The brain can be trained. How cool is that? Now it's recognizing how it was trained against you. Okay, this is really, really important, because if your brain can be trained, how did they use that against you? And this is where we're coming to today. So the first step that these beings, and we really discovered who these beings are a lot more in part 112. But today, these are the original, these are the beings who not only control humanity, but they're still controlling humanity today. There's a handful of them. There's very, very small group. And, some of them are in human form, some are not, but very, very, very few. Okay. So ultimately, how they started, right? So they're very, very simple beings. They're barbaric and archaic, which is interesting actually as I'm seeing it, because that's what they've taught us that humanity is. So it's actually kind of a brilliant plan when you think about it. And I chuckle at the simplicity and because they're very, very simple beings. And their plan was literally, how can we make humanity as stupid as we are? Except they don't see themselves as stupid. They see themselves as sly and, they just don't care. So the first thing they recognized and they understood about human existence is our superpower, literally, to access truth and to connect with each other. Okay? Everything happens through energy. That's how we access truth. That's how we connect with each other. And there's a bunch of other universal energies. Truth is one of the 9. But the point is that these beings, okay, they leveraged is the word they're using. So they leveraged your capacity to feel, and they melded. It's not melted, but they brought that together with your brain's capacity to be trained. And their intention was to create a situation, an experience, right? Because that's what existence is. It's just a number of experiences that happen. And not time or space. It doesn't happen before or after, it happens. And the experience that they were originally intending to create was pain and suffering. That was their original intention. And so they knew that the number one, the soft spot of their enemy, I don't know a better way to say that, but I'm sure if you are watching a whole bunch of, how to get your, I don't know, movies and whatever it is, but the number one target, if you will, if you want to take down a human being, is to target their capacity to feel, because that's what makes us whole. That's what makes us connected to ourselves. Feel that. That's what connects us to ourselves. Our ability to feel. Our ability to heal is connected to our ability to feel. Our ability to access truth, again, connected to our ability to feel. Our ability to know who we are, understand why we're here, and allow us to fulfill our purpose, right? Purpose is not a job description. It's understanding that you came here to fulfill a role. You have a very specific role in the unfolding that is currently happening in the resurrection of human existence. That's why you're incarnate right now. You have a very, very particular role. The only way you can access the depth, the wisdom, the significance of that role is through feeling energy. Super simple. But here's the thing. When this first started, we didn't have this role specifically that we were coming in for the resurrection of humanity. We were simply just coming back and forth as souls into physical incarnation to explore whatever it is we wanted to about existence. And so ultimately, when it came time to incarnate into roles, it became trickier and it became more challenging. Because what was happening is the moment we crossed that barrier and we became physical, so the moment that we, as a soul, okay, move into, if you will, okay, a baby, a fetus who's growing in a mother's womb, okay? The moment we cross that barrier from soul awareness into physical, it progressively became heavier. It progressively became more distorted. We didn't go from one to the other overnight. We didn't go from one to the other in 2,000 years. We went from one to the other in more than 50,000 years. 50,000 years. But when it first started, there were a group of humans who knew and who understood what was happening. And they chose to hold the wisdoms of human existence. And they are currently residing, yes, I know, currently residing 50,000 years later, plus some in the cities deep underneath the Egyptian pyramids. Why? Because they needed to hold the energy of physical existence for humans, the purity of it as it was originally created. Why is this vital? Vital to everything that's happening now? Because universal energy, they exist. There's 9 fundamental universal energies, and they exist universally. They can't be taken down, okay? They can't. But what happened is these universal beings are not holding universal wisdom. They're holding the wisdom of being human, right? And the wisdom of being human is the balance between universal wisdom and the wisdom that we've gathered, okay, and that we understand, and the original intention of creation itself, right? All that wisdom. It's when those two are combined. And when I say original intention of existence itself, I'm speaking specifically for humans. That's why those humans are incarnate, because they hold the ability of who we are and what we have to offer. Okay. And so what's happening now is we have to go through this resurrection process. The resurrection process is restoring the wisdom. Okay. It doesn't happen through the mind. And this is really important. It happens through energy. And what we're doing right now is we're retraining the brain to no longer feel that truth is a threat, to allow you to accept truth and bring it into your space. That's what's going on. That's the real big picture right now. Because yes, they took out self-worth, but how did they do that? They took it out at the knees by training your brain to think in very specific ways, but against you. Against you. And so we're retraining it. That's what we're doing. That's what the story of creation is all about. It's retraining your brain and aligning it back with universal truth. Why is that so important? So that when you go through your life and you have experiences and you hear about experiences around the world, your brain is not reacting from an emotional perspective. It's reacting from a universal perspective, from truth. And that's what's going to allow you to participate exactly how you're meant to. You see the people who are doing incredible, incredible work in the world to change the world. They're not angry at the system. They're not even paying attention to the system. They've created an entire system built on truth and trust and faith and joy and purity, compassion and respect. Why? Because those are universal energies. So they've built lives and, they've built work and the incredible things that they're doing. But they had to come back to universal truth. They had to allow themselves to see the truth of what's actually happening first. That's the power of truth. And it really is freedom when you allow yourself to feel it. Listen, you're not doing everything wrong. And I don't want to feel like that's what we're trying to communicate today. What we're communicating is understanding and recognizing the significance and value of building a relationship with truth. That's what this is. Your job is to allow it to become every single part of your life. So this week, as you're going through your days, notice where you're uncomfortable, where your brain is like, I want the truth, but only if it fits into my perspective or what I'm comfortable with. Notice when you're in conversations and you don't want the truth. I want you to also start to wonder, who are you as a soul? What are you meant to be doing in this life? What is your purpose? And then I want to ask you if you're 100% open to the truth of that answer in every single one of those questions. Because that's going to tell you where you are at your relationship with truth. Because here's the thing. My journey, my purpose isn't a job description and I'm moving towards it. Your purpose unfolds as you take each step. And that's why I'm offering you this today. The first step in the next evolution of you is cultivating your relationship with truth on a universal level. So we're bypassing human level, we're bypassing soul level, and we're going all the way to universal. Why? Because that's how you were created. And inside of that relationship, inside of that experience, is the wealth of information that you've been searching for, that you've been craving. And it's time to admit that when answers don't come to you, it's because you're not actually open to feeling them. You're not actually open to hearing them. Because in some way, you've been trained that that truth is going to threaten you. It's going to threaten your relationship with yourself. It's going to threaten your financial situation. Doesn't matter what it is. But for whatever reason, you've decided that that level of truth is not right for you, even though you want it more than anything else. So we're going to start to build our relationship with truth. You're going to start to recognize that knowing the truth is powerful. That's true universal power. Not because you're going to use it to hurt somebody else, but because you're going to use it to fulfill your purpose. That's how humanity will be restored. That's how we're going to take down these guys, because we're not going to set up an army to try and take them down. It's useless. Why is it useless? Because the entire human race is still following them, whether they're here or not. Doesn't matter. Why are we following them? Because we've been trained to believe that feeling truth is a threat. And so we've got a whole bunch of humans, right? We've got 8 billion humans walking around feeling constantly under threat, constantly on edge, and they're constantly in a state of needing to protect, keep themselves safe. So what happens when you're in a constant state of fight or flight, right? Your central nervous system can't regulate. There's no way. Your emotions are completely out of whack. So now what happens is you're having conversations with other humans and you overreact here or you don't react enough there, whatever it is, because you're not emotionally stable. Why? Because you don't allow truth in. And your whole reason that you're not emotionally stable is genuinely and simply because you are not comfortable allowing truth in. So we need to cultivate that ability again. We need to make you feel truth. We need to get to that place where you've cultivated your relationship with truth so much that there isn't a single lie that can permeate your being. Because guess what? That's how you restore your power. When it doesn't matter what's going on in the world, you're still focused on your mission because you know what it is. Because right now we live in a world where there's, oh, look over here and look over here. And this is the news headline over here. And this is what's going on with this person over here. And this is what's going on with these people. And what do? Instead of staying focused on our mission and where we're meant to be going, oh, I'm going to look over here and I'm going to look over here and I'm going to go over there. Oh my gosh, can you believe this is happening? That's our story. Why? How does that happen? That happens when a society doesn't know how to feel. All they know is their emotions, and they genuinely believe that their emotions are telling the story of what they're meant to be doing. But it's not true. This is going to take a long time to work through. And when I say a long time, it's understanding that this is part of your journey. This is part of your purpose. Every human in existence right now, this is part of our purpose. And until you really and truly nurture this ability, you can't step fully into your purpose. Not because you don't want to, but because this is the barrier. Being able to feel truth, acknowledge it, respect it, and partner with it. That's how you step into your purpose. Because then the next step is revealed. And then the next step after that, and the next step after that. I know you can do it. How do I know? Because the entire universe was created based on truth. Your soul was created based on truth. You as a human coming into this life right now, based on truth. And how do I know? Because you're watching this. You're listening to this information right now. The universe made sure you got this reminder today. That's how powerful you are. That's how important you are and how incredible you are. but you have to see it. I can't just tell you. You have to feel it. So use your brain. Use your brain as an asset that wants you to succeed. What does that mean? That means when you start to feel threatened, when you start to feel uncomfortable, your job is not to react from that place. Your job is to pull back and go, okay, this is my opportunity to feel. What am I going to feel? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be comfortable. That's a good sign. Because if you're comfortable, you're doing the same thing you've already done. Pull back. Let yourself feel. Because when you feel, incredible things start to happen. You actually see the dynamics of your relationship. You actually see where the potential is for you to become something so much more than you already are. And that allows the relationship to become so much more than it already is. Doesn't matter if it's a personal relationship or professional, if it's in your community, if it's a friendship, it doesn't matter. Everything works on the same energy. Truth is universal. Thank you for watching. This is part 113 of the story of creation. If you are interested, it's a great binge watch or binge listen. Okay. If you want to go back and start at the beginning, just click the button. It's right there. And let yourself explore, because the entire story of creation is based on universal truth. Why? And how do I know? Because it's not from me. It just comes through me. And it's coming directly from the universal beings who created everything. They created existence, but they also created you and the opportunity for you to be here right now. And I know, you know, there's something inside of you that is so significant and it needs to get out. And the key to getting it out, it's truth. I'll see you next time. Michelle Vickers, signing off. Bye for now.